You're watching Voiceover. How did you do it? At voiceoverpodcast.com, where we talk to seasoned, successful voice actors to find out how they did it. I'm your host, Ian Kleinfeld, and you can find me at voicebyian.com. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at voicebyian. Hi, David. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Ian. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, good to have you.
Yeah.
So, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Life is good. Voiceover is good. All the different hats that I wear with voiceover. I like all my hats and they fit well right now. So
oh, well, they look good on you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Good.
I'm making sure that my head doesn't get too big so that I can still wear them all. No.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. What are you about a 7 3/4?
Whoa. I'm an 8 1/4, but yeah.
8 1/4. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's start by talking about all your hats.
I didn't realize we were going to get so intimate so soon. Now everybody knows my hat size. Oh my God. Okay.
Are you going to be okay? Do you need me to edit that out? I mean, that's pretty personal information to have out on the internet.
I know, right? But hey, okay. I'm trusting you. Okay, here we go.
So let's talk about all your hats.
Yeah.
Let's start with that.
I am a voice actor and have been for going on 30 years now. While I completely adore and love voiceover, I have also been coaching for the last 20 years, helping people in terms of their own careers and getting started and learning what to do and business-wise, all the things to make sure that they're not making mistakes that are commonly made. So as a coach, that I've been doing that for 20, and that's really good. I have also been the CEO at GVAA, Global Voice Acting Academy now for about 5 years. And I have also in the last 6 years been doing a lot of casting for games, game apps, and cartoons. And then over the last year, a little over a year now, I've also been directing a number of cartoon series. A couple of them are out right now on Amazon Prime. One's coming out on Netflix in a couple of months. And so it's been really, really exciting and nice to kind of over time now to be kind of moving to, not completely obviously, because I'm not going to turn down voiceover work, but I'm much more picky about the voiceover work that I audition for.
Mm-hmm.
And now than I used to be, just because I want to make the best use of my time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make the best use of where I get the most joy and the most excitement. And for me, that is at this point through directing, casting, and helping people on their way, making sure that, I love nothing more than a student or a client calling me up and going, "Oh my God, I got this fantastic job," and I'm like, that's awesome. That floats my boat even more than my getting a job,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
Those are my hats
nice.
for now.
And it's Global Voice Academy.
It's globalvoiceacademy.com. You are correct.
Yes.
Even though our name is Global Voice Acting Academy, that is not the URL. So just to confuse you. All right.
Like everything else starting in voiceovers.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. So how did you get into voiceovers? What were you doing before that?
Before that, I was doing on-camera work personally. I have been acting since I was in high school and on stage, and then through college. And then once I got out of college, I was in New York City. I got my first agent there, and I started auditioning for on-camera stuff. Moved out to San Francisco, where I was for 36 years, and went through a couple of different agents before I found the one that I stuck with for 26 years. They were awesome. I loved working with her. She's since retired, but it was a fantastic time there. And while I was doing on camera, she said, "Hey, you want to do voiceover?" And for me, it was just kind of like a natural segue, and it was fun to do. And also at that time, the video game industry was really starting to come into its own. And interestingly enough, where that happened initially
Mm-hmm.
was San Francisco.
Oh.
Sony was there, independent production houses that did a lot of anime was there. Um, uh, Sega was there, Electronic Arts was there. It was like a wonderful resource for all sorts of imaginative, creative projects. And I was right in the thick of that. So for me, that was super exciting. And I got to, and back then, um, that was the way that you got voiceover work, was through an agent.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't too many other resources back then. You
Mm-hmm.
have to understand there wasn't any on the technology at that point wasn't we couldn't be doing this back then.
No.
Right. And
Outside of like the CIA or something.
exactly right. So yeah, so that's how I got started. And luckily there was just tons of work back then, because not everybody did voiceover.
Right.
Back then, I would say I do voiceover, and people would say, "What's that?" And I'd have to explain to them, like, "Oh, that sounds really cool." And then, 10 years later, I told them I do voiceover, and they'd say, "Oh, that's really cool. I know what that is." And now I say I do voiceover, and they go like, "Oh, I do too." Yeah, that's the evolution there.
Nice.
Right.
So what does one do, given that, you know, it's so saturated right now? What do you suggest for people?
Well, the wonderful thing that we do at GVAA is I offer free 15-minute consultations for people who are thinking about getting started in it. And we're kind of like a gatekeeper. We're like the truth sayer. We talk. One of the first things when I meet with people, first of all, I ask them how they got interested in voiceover, what their possible goals are for it. And then most importantly, I ask them, what's your current work situation?
Uh-huh.
Um, because I don't want people who are in desperate straits thinking that, oh, well, I need to be working from home, and it's pandemic time, and geez, I've always heard that I had a good voice, and I'm going to just put all my eggs in one basket, and all of a sudden I'm going to become a small business owner and go on an entrepreneurial journey and hope that it works out, even though I don't have a job right now. So
Mm-hmm.
so what I do is I talk sense to the people who want to who want to go into voiceover, and as opposed to a lot of other companies who will just take your money, and not think twice about it. And hey, we live in a capitalist world, and somebody says, hey, they want to take a class, let them take a class. They want to make a demo. Who am I to say no? And I said, yeah, but they're not ready. I don't care what happens to them after they make the demo. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not the way we work. We care very deeply about that. I care very deeply about anybody who wants to get involved and put their heart and soul and time and effort and finances on the line, that they're doing it thoughtfully, methodically, strategically. So I there's a there's a time and a place to pursue voiceover. And that may not be now for everybody. Um, when it is a saturated place already, it's really, really important that as you open up your business, that people see you as a consummate professional. Because believe me, as a casting director now, with that hat on, um, and talking to other casting directors, talking to agents, talking to rosters and production houses, they're all looking for a reason to dismiss you. And
Mm-hmm.
so, just because of that saturation. So if you don't give them one, don't give them a reason, because you have followed a very specific, thoughtful, fiscally responsible, strategic path that involves business savvy, uh, a business model that you have. That not only do you have a plan A for your business, but you have a plan B in case plan A doesn't work right away. I mean, there, it is a business, and I want people to understand that, as fun and as joyful and as wonderful as it is, it's a business. And a lot of people come to this, for the creative joy, which, believe me, as you know, there's a lot of that.
Hmm.
But then, I say, okay, let's talk about marketing and branding, and let's put on your business hat, and their eyes glaze over. Um, so you need to be ready in this market to have patience, perseverance, uh, kind of a certain kind of moxie,
Hmm.
certain kind of confidence, the ability to go out there and be uh, a small business owner, entrepreneur, not be afraid to go out there and make new contacts, and stay with it. Do things thoughtfully, mindfully, not just haphazardly. Then you have a much better chance of success in this saturated environment.
Hmm. Nice.
Yeah.
And just going to track back for a second.
Yeah.
How did you find so much success in voiceover?
Um, you know, I think that there are a couple of things that everybody needs to have in order to be successful in voiceover. Um, you need to have this just unfettered desire to play.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't have that.
You mean play as in be playful?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yes. I want eh, you. Almost every successful VO that I know has a ton of fun doing what they're doing, and they're not. And that playfulness is attractive.
Hmm.
It's infectious. It people want it. They're drawn to it, and that's because not everybody has that ability to extend their genuine, authentic spirit, their charisma, their joy out into the world in a way where people can feel it and
Hmm.
participate in it. So I would say that that's something that I've always had, luckily. Um, it. I think we all have it as kids,
Hmm.
and then at some point, because we have this wonderful relationship to the world, playful relationship to the world, and then all of a sudden, someone comes along and goes, whack, shut up, stop that, that's stupid, grow up, whatever that voice is,
Uh-huh.
right? Because we need that love, or we need that acknowledgement, or we need that acceptance, we put away all that beautiful, wonderful, creative, playful self.
Right.
And I would say, as a coach, a lot of my job is to help be a guide and a mentor, help people find their way back, almost like a hero's journey,
Hmm.
find their way back consciously, and take their playful power back. Because once you have it consciously, it's inviolable. It becomes a strength that nobody else can take away. And I feel that so luckily, I was able to get that back very early on in my life, and I've kept it joyfully present and having a good time. I would also say that you need the finances to, like,
Yeah.
start a business. Like, I was lucky. I didn't do it haphazardly. I had another job. I was a financial advisor for 12 years, but I knew that I also wanted to do on-camera acting and voiceover, and so what I did was kept the other job, because I needed to be. I had two little kids. I had a mortgage from hell. I needed to be thoughtful about that. I wasn't going to be stupid and just like, don't worry, I'll find a great job here and I'll make lots of money right away. I built it up over time. I built my voiceover business up
Hmm.
over time. And then once I had made enough money to know that I could support myself and my family just off of that, I said, okay, I'm there, but I don't want it to be a fluke. So I did a whole nother year to make sure that I could still make that kind of money before I said goodbye to my other job.
Hmm.
Um, so play, um, have enough time and finances to grow your business. Oh, and then the time aspect,
Right.
patience and perseverance. So I think that I had that wonderful combination. thoughtfulness about how to grow my business. And being a financial advisor, I got to practice what I preach. I'm not going to be stupid about my finances, right?
Right, of course.
But you'd be surprised.
I would.
Um, right. And then there you've got the time element. I knew that I needed to be patient and be just persistent, and understand that this was going to take time and play all the time. I also think that I was very uh, eager and open to making new relationships,
Mhm.
so that because as a voiceover, you never know where these opportunities are going to come from. They could come from left field. But if you have blinders on and say, this is the only place that I am going to find voiceover work, you're wrong. And you'll
Mhm.
also be disappointed. And you'll also be shooting yourself in the foot about all the wonderful places that you could possibly be finding work, as long as you just keep that idea of where the work might come from wide open. So I had all those things. I enjoyed talking to almost everybody, different walks of life. Never pushed my business on them, but invited them to listen to this or know that I was doing that. And through all those warm connections, made a living in a way that I don't think I could have made otherwise. I had a great agent.
Mhm.
And then as the world started to go online, I wasn't stupid. I saw that trend and I started working with that trend and made that happen as well.
Nice. So
Thank
you've
you.
been online for a while.
Oh, heck yeah. I was online back when FaceTime and Google Hangouts and then Zoom and all sorts of different video platforms were, I wanted to do this, what we're doing now, and I wanted to do online coaching, and I wanted to do online home studio recordings for clients. I wanted to do it before it was feasible. I
Right.
knew that that's where we were going, but everything would like this, and so I had to wait until the technology caught up to where I knew things were going to go. That part was frustrating, but I hung in there, and guess what? It all worked out fine.
Oh, right. So if I hang in there, it'll all work out fine
Yeah, as long as you do all,
as long as I do
uh,
all the other stuff.
yeah, it's not just hanging, going like, find me, I'm here.
No.
That doesn't work too well.
So
Yeah.
what sort of suggestions do you have for new voice actors other than the things you've already covered?
Um, First of all, they have to really be passionate about this, because it can be very thankless for a while.
Mhm.
Um, you have to be so passionate and know that this is the way, above all other creative aspirations, that this is the way that you want to put your voice out into the world. Now, it doesn't mean that it has to be the only way that you put your voice out into the world. I mean, I've been a father, and I've been a vocal proponent of different programs and ideas out there. And I am always putting my voice out through those different avenues. But to actually consistently eventually make income and money off of this has to be something that you devote yourself to daily in various and different ways. um, and it's really important that that passion continue to motivate you to do the less exciting things, like going onto LinkedIn and making new connections, being part of voiceover group forums, and making connections there, and continuing to practice and coaching with people. um, the best people that I know who work regularly in the industry, students of mine that are now booking all the time, they still come and coach with me. It's like, duh, because
Mhm.
little things that they could add on, and, like, get your mind blown occasionally with stuff that helps them continue to create more business. um you know uh, our membership, the Global Voice Acting Academy membership, has tons of recorded content that they can go and learn from all different sorts of coaches, acting people, that we have webinars with casting directors, we have webinars with agents, and we have webinars with, um, you know, entertainment CPAs and lawyers and people who are savvy about marketing on LinkedIn and Insta. These are all things that people need to keep doing while they're growing their business. Uh,
Hmm.
so I would tell people that education is never done. Passion, put it everywhere. And don't get your dauber down. This 99% of what we do is no. It gets a no answer,
Hmm.
you know? And that, if you're not used to that and you take it too personally, that can be debilitating, I can imagine. But I never took it that way. I always said, people are making a choice. And it's not me this time, but maybe next time it will be. And they
Hmm.
have a perfect right to make the choice that they made. My job as a voice actor is to always get up there into the top 10% of every of all the voice actors that they're listening to. So I'll always be up there. Now, even always being up there in the top 10% doesn't mean that I'm always going to book that job, but at least now I
Uh-huh.
have I have that opportunity to hit, where I don't if I'm in the bottom 90.
Right.
So that's a lot of what I would tell people. Have the passion, have the joy, reach out to other people. Never forget that you got to keep growing, keep learning and education, and find opportunities to help other people. Don't look at this as like, well, I've done all this good stuff, so now I should be getting stuff in return. That whole expectation thing, that's going to bite you in the ass over and over again.
Hmm.
If you just approach this as a way to keep giving out of your good spirit, things will happen, much more likely a chance of success if you approach it in that way.
Hmm.
How can I bring goodwill out there and keep doing this for people? And then that's the way I've found good stuff happens.
Nice. Very
Yeah,
good.
thank you.
You want to read some copy?
Hell yeah.
All right.
Why not?
Yeah.
I
So I
gotta,
sent that to you, I guess, yesterday.
yeah, let me
Got
get
it.
this.
And for those of you who are listening, you're listening to the Voiceover How Did You Do It podcast at voiceoverpodcast.com. I'm Ian Kleinfeld, and we have David Rosenthal, David Rosenthal with us
Yeah, that
from
guy too.
GBAA. That guy.
He's here too.
Yeah.
All right, so you've given me this lift thing. And
Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna
what do you think about it, and talk about your process, and then give us a read.
All right. Is it something where you want me to bring this up so that people can see it or not?
No, no, it's
Okay.
fine.
All right, cool. So I'm looking at a script of about 5 lines on a page. So if it's a commercial, then I'm thinking that it is probably, somewhere. I don't know whether it's a radio commercial. I don't know whether it's a television commercial. Um, but I would imagine that it could be done in 15, but it's probably maybe at 30, unless it's online streaming, in which it could be at 20. So I'm starting to think already about like pacing for the amount of words that are on the page.
Hmm.
I also want to get a sense of what the product is. It's Lyft. Um, so I am thinking that Lyft is, for the most part, uh, skews towards a younger demographic.
Hmm.
So that's my demographic. So I'm thinking about that in terms of how do I want to relate to my demographic in a way that makes them perk up and lift and listen. Um, because this is written in a style which is conversational, I want to make sure that that's my MO, that I'm going to reach out to people in a conversational style. One of the things that when I'm working with my students and clients, that I always say is, before you open your mouth for any commercial or any narration, is what kind of smile you're going to bring to the table, because that smile is going to affect your read. It's going to affect how people hear you. And then am I moving? And the reason I ask for both of these things for myself as well is because somewhere, depending on what scientist you talk to, somewhere between 70 and 85% of all human communication is nonverbal, right? It's body language, it's facial expression, it's that intangible thing we call charisma. And so I need to make sure that I'm bringing 100% of my of all the assets I have to communicate with to my read. I don't want to leave behind my body. I don't want to leave behind my facial expression and depend on everything being in my voice. So there's that. So I'm doing all this kind of stuff. So I've got my smile, I've got my body moving, and I'm going to just go, life is a lot more than just a car ride. Yeah, you heard me right. Shared rides, bikes, scooters, fancy cars, public transit, and more. And they're all available with your Lyft app. We're always happy to pick you up, but we can help you get there more ways than you thought. Download the Lyft app today and get going. Okay, that's one reason. There was also a little bit in parenthesis, right? We're always happy to pick you up, but we can help you get there more ways than you thought. So whenever I see a parenthesis, I'm thinking two things. One, it's an aside. It has a little different sound than the rest, or it's an alt line that they don't know whether they're going to put into the script yet or not. I'm still going to read it as if it is in there, and then they can decide based on my read whether that's something that works time-wise, whether it works in terms of the way they want to hear this or whatever, but I'm putting it in there. So that would be my tendency, is to move to it this way. And then, it's always fun to see what happens if you do it other ways, even if you kind of know that that's not the style, just because it can help you more to hear certain things. So if I was to give a more announcery read, which this doesn't totally work for, but you could do it. Lyft is a lot more than just a car ride. Yeah, you heard me right. Shared rides, bikes, scooters, fancy cars, public transit, and more. And they're all available with your Lyft app. We're always happy to pick you up, but we can help you get there more ways than you thought. Download the Lyft app today and get going. So you see how that's a little bit more.
Just ever so slightly, yeah.
Right. But to me, that's I can hear that difference in terms of moving towards more presentational and answery as opposed to conversational.
Right.
And then there's the German version. This is very important. So Lyft is a lot more than just a car ride. Yeah, you heard me right. Shared rides, bikes, scooters, fancy cars, public transit, and more. And they're all available with your Lyft app. We're always happy to pick you up, but we can get you there other ways. Now, you download that Lyft app today. Get going. All right. So, right? So you never know. Maybe they want that read as well.
Yeah, they might. I mean, they might want the, for the
for the European market.
For the European market. There you
right,
go.
Exactly.
For the angry German market.
Right, exactly, right. But I will tell you something, and this is talk about that kind of joy and excitement that comes from joy, my ability to kind of just go there and do that, right?
Yeah.
It comes from being silly and just having fun with this. If I was sending this audition out, I would send out the first version I did because that's, I feel like the most, and then I would say David Rosenthal, 2 takes Lyft, and I would put the German one on second.
Yeah, just for giggles.
That will get me noticed.
And
it is so important for you to separate yourself in this saturated world, to separate yourself from all the other people doing, a generic read, from people doing a really good, awesome read just like you, but you got to separate yourself from them too.
Right.
So do something audacious. And do it unapologetically. Do it out of joy and fun, not like to like go, oh, I got to find some weird way to do. No, that's kind of calculating. But if you're doing it out of joy, and I just kind of do, I have gotten work because of this kind of thing where I'll put on a second take and they'll go, oh my God, we were so happy, we were so excited that we listened to that second take of yours. Of course we can't use it, but we figured that if you can do that, we have somebody who can like take us wherever we need to go on this for this spot.
Okay, nice.
But and yet, how many people are going to go out there and play it safe? 90% of everybody is going to play it safe out there.
All right. Well, I'm going to no longer play it safe on my
Good.
second read.
Good.
Yeah.
Do something audacious. Yeah.
I'm just thinking of all the possibilities with that.
See, but isn't that wonderfully fun and joyful? Isn't that fantastic? The fact that already your mind is going places.
Ian Kleinfeld, second read, no pants. Yeah. This is what I sound like without pants.
And that's why we're doing the first read. Thank you, Leanne, very much. But yeah, cool. People are starved for humor and lightness of spirit and all that. And if you're just going to play it all serious all the time, people are going to go there with you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can show them that you're going to be a joy to work with, you still have a professionalism. They can hear that in the first read or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And they're going to love working with you. They really are. Yeah.
I'm going to put that in my reads now.
Yes. Fantastic. I can't wait to hear them. Right.
Any other audition suggestions for folks?
Keep your pants on.
Keep your pants on. Even if you say you don't have them, keep them on.
Keep them on, right. Living the lie. Gosh. I think I've hit a lot of that good stuff.
Yeah.
As far, little pearls that they can take and work with.
All right.
Yeah.
Would you sit or stand when you do voiceover?
So for the longest time, I stood, and I still do if I've booked a job, but I've found that my level of energy and spirit is not that different anymore sitting than it is up standing. Just because I don't know, you can see I'm very active and as long as my torso and my body and my face is moving, I tend to be able to give a very honest, full-hearted read. I think that it's gotten easier and easier over time because I know exactly what needs to happen in terms of energy and spirit. Mm-hmm. But I would say for people beginning or starting out, that sitting can be it can be the wrong message to your body, mm-hmm. And we need your body to be as active as possible, right? And so I would say that you should stand. As I said, I still stand for the actual gig if I get it, just because I want all the energy coming up, right? Mm-hmm. Being stationary and just sitting, gives that body kind of, okay, we're a little bit more relaxed. We're not kind of this is where we are. Right. And that's okay. That's not the right message for really giving everything you can.
Right. All right.
Cool.
What about, I think it's time for self-promotion if you'd like to.
Okay. Well,
let me check. Hold on. Yep. It's self-promotion time.
Yoo-hoo! I love self-promotion time, but it's actually myself is all put in these days into Global Voice Acting Academy. It's my passion to see this as an incredible resource for everybody, to let them know that we have a very vital and active membership with a wonderful community of people who are continuing to learn and grow, and we have fantastic coaches who are out there all the time doing fantastic workouts with us. We have wonderful webinars that are live and then recorded stuff. every once in a while I'm doing a class, like say I just finished a class called Creating Characters for Your Demo, which was it's always a wonderful, wonderful hit there to be able to work with excited people who are coming up with their own characters and moving towards creating a demo. So, it's more, the Global Voice Acting Academy is so much more than a rate guide, although I'm very grateful and pleased that that GVA has the industry standard rate guide for all non-union work. People are using that regularly to negotiate their rates with other businesses and to educate businesses as well about the proper rates for people. And you'd be surprised how other businesses respond to that once they understand.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got that. We have a fantastic membership, and I am going to offer to the guys that watch this and listen to it a special opportunity for the membership. I'll get that to you, and with a special discount code, and you can put that underneath our podcast, and that can work so that they can get a taste of how amazing that is. Because the membership offers not only workouts and a Q&A webinar with myself, but we have, as I said, all 750 hours of recorded content. We have a fantastic script library. We offer rate and negotiation help. People need, like, they say, I just had somebody come to me the other day, I got this job and they're asking me what my rate is. How do I do that? How do I figure all this out? And besides the rate guide, we also tell them how to negotiate with the rates that we're talking about and why, and things to say about that, how to get the rate that you want. And we've had tremendous success with that. So I would say that, I'm doing fine as a casting director. I'm doing fine as a director, and I'm doing great as a coach, although you can find me as a coach there on GVA as well. But come and check out the membership, and we're going to give you an extra incentive today. When you watch this, you'll see that discount code and use it.
Until midnight tonight.
Right. Yeah. It could be a little longer than that.
Midnight, some night.
Some night. Midnight, some night.
Until midnight, some night.
Right. Oh, gosh, that was the wrong midnight. You're sorry. But no, anyway, I'm happy to do that. And hopefully people will be excited to check that out.
Yeah. Okay? And full disclosure, I'm a member of GVAA and I like it. And I did the special coupon deal too. And I decided to stay on, and I would definitely recommend it to people.
Thank you so much, Ian, for that. That's really wonderful. Yeah, I was excited to see you on there and participating and doing all that stuff. You're only going to get better. I mean, the resources are there, and I'm always available actually through the membership. People can just sign up for a 15-minute chat with me about this or that, and I'm always there for them. So
nice.
That can help out too. Okay.
Any final words?
Thank you for the opportunity, Ian.
You're welcome for the opportunity, David.
Those are my final words.
All right. Thank you, David, for coming on.
All right. It was wonderful. Great.
All right. You've been listening to Voiceover. How did you do it? At www.voiceoverpodcast.com with me, Ian Kleinfeld. You can watch the video to all our podcasts at voiceoverpodcast.com/YouTube. The background track is 1959 by my alter ego Max Rocket, and you can find that and other songs at www.maxrocketmusic.com. Remember to like, subscribe, write a review, and all that good stuff on whatever podcast streaming service you're listening to, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.